Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
Hey there. Good to be back.
So, you settle in for your week, maybe check the headlines, and bam,
Yeah.
the world of cybersecurity throws another curveball.
Yeah.
And this week, we've got a few doozies to unpack.
Absolutely. It's a domain where, well, the unexpected often becomes the headline.
Right.
And the implications can ripple out in pretty fascinating ways.
So what's on the docket for this deep dive?
We've got a ransomware group getting a taste of their own medicine, you could say.
Oh, interesting.
Then a major legal showdown that's been brewing for years.
Okay.
And finally, a new player entering the vulnerability disclosure game over in Europe.
Okay, let's dive right into the deep end then. First up, Lockbit.
Lockbit.
These are the folks who've been making a name for themselves with some pretty high-profile ransomware attacks, right?
That's them. Very active, very damaging.
Well, guess what? It seems they experienced a bit of a role reversal.
That's putting it mildly. On May 7th, their dark web communication site, it got defaced.
Defaced how? Like, professionally or?
Well, with a rather cheeky message, actually. It said, "Don't do crime. Crime is bad Zogso from Prague."
Zogso? Seriously? From Prague? That's oddly specific and informal?
You almost wonder if it was like a disgruntled intern or something. Bizarre.
Right. But it wasn't just, digital graffiti. Apparently, a whole lot of their internal data got dumped, too.
A significant amount, yeah.
What kind of goodies were in that digital piñata?
We're talking over 59,000 Bitcoin wallet addresses.
59,000, wow.
Yeah, really gives you a sense of the sheer scale of their financial operations.
Naturally. Who else?
Then there were over 4,000 messages, details of negotiations between Lockbit affiliates and their victims.
Oh, wow. That's potentially a goldmine for researchers, right?
Exactly. A rich source of intel.
Yeah.
And maybe the kicker, a list of users with access to their affiliates panel.
Okay.
Including, get this, plain text passwords in the saved users table.
No way. Plain text passwords for a major ransomware group.
I know, right? Imagine finding the master key to a fortress just sitting under the doormat. That's kind of the level of oversight we're talking about.
That's almost poetically ironic, isn't it? Did anyone verify this stuff?
Yeah, security researcher Ray actually confirmed the authenticity of these databases, talked directly with Lockbit's own spokesperson.
And what did Lockbit say? Were they panicking?
Their response was, well, nonchalant might be an understatement.
Really? After all that?
They essentially shrugged it off, claimed only their light panel with auto-registration was compromised.
The light panel?
Yeah. They insisted no crucial elements like decryptors or, stolen company data were affected.
Huh. So it sounds like they're more worried about their reputation, their image.
It definitely seems that way. Suggests their primary concern might be maintaining this aura of invincibility rather than, say, any real operational setback.
But doesn't that reputation hit itself hurt them? If people think they're vulnerable.
That's a great point. You'd think it would impact their ability to extort victims down the line. Makes you wonder what their real priorities are.
Yeah, fascinating internal dynamics, I guess. Okay, shifting gears now. Let's talk about a long-running legal drama. Meta versus the NSO Group.
Ah, yes, that one's been going on for years, since 2019, actually.
Right. Meta sued NSO Group over their Pegasus spyware being used against WhatsApp users.
Exactly. Pegasus, the really sophisticated stuff.
That's the zero-click spyware we keep hearing about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe just quickly, for anyone new to this, what makes zero-click so concerning?
So zero-click basically means a device can be infected without the user doing anything at all. No clicking a link, no downloading a file.
Nothing.
In this case, simply receiving a specific type of call on WhatsApp was apparently enough. You didn't even need to answer it.
That's chilling.
Yeah. And once it's in, Pegasus pretty much gives attackers unfettered access to everything on the phone. Emails, messages, camera, microphone location, everything.
And who was targeted here?
Reportedly, around 1,400 WhatsApp users. And it wasn't random. We're talking journalists, government officials, human rights activists, but also just regular civilians.
So potentially very widespread abuse.
Right.
What was NSO Group's angle? What was their defense?
Well, their main argument was that they only sell Pegasus to vetted government intelligence and law enforcement agencies.
Okay.
Specifically, they said, to help them fight terrorism and serious crime. They also claim they had safeguards to prevent misuse against journalists and activists.
Did they mention encryption? I feel like that comes up.
They did. They kind of positioned themselves as a necessary countermeasure because, criminals use encrypted platforms like WhatsApp too.
Right. the going dark argument. But like you said, the targets included activists and journalists.
Exactly. And that's the core tension. Where do you draw the line? Who decides which governments are legitimate users, and are the safeguards really effective? Plus, NSO actually acknowledged in court they can still compromise current iOS and Android devices.
They admitted that. So how did the legal battle finally play out? What was the outcome?
Ultimately, the court ordered NSO Group to pay Meta quite a bit. It was $167 million in punitive damages.
Ouch.
And another $445,000 to WhatsApp in compensatory damages. So a significant financial penalty.
That's substantial. Is that the end of it?
Well, Meta has also said they plan to release deposition transcripts and eventually official court transcripts, too. So we might get even more insight into the whole thing.
Okay, definitely something we'll be keeping an eye on then. That transparency could be really revealing.
For sure. It sends a strong message, but whether it truly curbs this kind of activity, well, NSO is still operating.
True. Okay, last topic. This sounds like a bit of a plot twist, maybe. The European Union stepping into the cybersecurity vulnerability game.
Yes, you could call it that. A major development, really. The European Union Agency for Cybersecurity, that's ENISA, they've launched their own vulnerability database.
Their own? What's it called?
The European Vulnerability Database, or EUVD, they announced it was operational just recently on May 13th, 2025.
Okay, EUVD. Now, is this the EU saying, hey, we need our own thing, maybe because of issues with the existing systems like the MITRE CVE program?
There was some talk about funding issues there, right?
That's the interesting part. ENIS is saying, no, this isn't a direct response to any funding concerns with CVE.
Oh, so what's the driver then?
It's actually a result of the NIS2 directives.
NIS2, right. The EU's big cybersecurity framework update.
Exactly. NIS2 is all about boosting cybersecurity across the EU. It broadens the scope of who needs to comply, mandates stronger risk management, better incident reporting, minimum security standards, the works, plus more enforcement power.
And part of that was a vulnerability database.
Yes. One of the key goals of NIS2 was to create a more coordinated vulnerability disclosure system across the EU member states. And the EUVD is basically the concrete outcome of that specific goal. Okay, so it's born from EU policy, not necessarily dissatisfaction with existing global systems. Are they trying to replace CVE then?
They say no. NSA's position is that the EUVD aims to complement, not rival, the existing CVE program.
Complement how?
Well, interestingly, ENISA was actually named a CVE numbering authority, a CNA, back in January 2024.
Ah, so they're already part of the CVE ecosystem.
Precisely. Which suggests, a built-in pathway for cooperation between the two systems. The idea seems to be strengthening the overall vulnerability management landscape, perhaps with a specific focus on European needs under NIS2.
So potentially more coordination, maybe faster patching within the EU could be a good thing overall.
That seems to be the hope. Having more robust, coordinated systems for finding and fixing vulnerabilities can really only be a positive step for cybersecurity globally, assuming they work well together.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like the cybersecurity landscape is, well, as dynamic and unpredictable as ever.
Never a dull moment.
From ransomware groups getting a taste of their own medicine to these huge legal decisions, and now international efforts to kind of shore up defenses. Lots happening.
Indeed. It just underscores that constant need for vigilance, adaptation, and really collaboration across the globe to handle these evolving digital threats.
Well said. All right, that's all the Byte-Sized Tech news we have time for today.
Always flies by.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, you know what to do. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.